Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Friends, on behalf of Param Vedanta, I extend a warm welcome to each one of you for today's 15th session of the Mananam series. In the second Adhyaya of the Kathopanishad, Lord Yamadharmaraja engages in a deeper and more serious discussion on the nature of Ātma Swarupam. The core teaching of the Upanishad is unfolded in the first two vallis of this chapter, where the nature of Jivatma and its oneness with Paramatma are emphasized. The opening verses of the first valli begin with the essential preparation of this knowledge, prescribing the discipline of turning the mind inward. Today, Dr. Timmappa Hegde sir will take us deeper into these important mantras and unfold the key insights. Dr. Anupama will present the whole presentation will be interspersed with a quiz by Dr. Anupama. Over to Dr. Hegde sir.
Thank you, Shri, for a nice introduction to Chapter 2. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. Having completed the first chapter, we had come to the second chapter of Kathopanishad. But before we begin, we have already had two classes on a recap, but I will just look at Kathopanishad at a glance. Kathopanishad belongs to Krishna Yajurveda. It has 119 mantras. In the first chapter, we have completed 71, and we have 48 mantras in 3 vallis of the second chapter. Having studied the first chapter, these are few points that we need to be absolutely clear. A student of Kathopanishad should be clear about what is my goal in life, what is that I really want. And once I know what is my goal, how do I go about getting my goal? Now, of course, we are going to have a quiz to help you to think, but having studied the first chapter of Kathopanishad with Yamadharmaraja as our guru, what is our goal and what is our means? I will use the words given in the Upanishad itself. Our goal is Vishnu Padam. What do you mean by Vishnu Padam? To become one with Paramatma. To become one with Paramatma literally means the highest Purushartha of moksha, which means that all of us are searching for happiness. And can I be happy all the time? And this is our birthright, and this is possible. Human life is too precious, and those of us who have had all these opportunities should make use of it. And what is the means to achieve this Parama Purushartha or Nitya Ananda, which is same as Vishnu Padam, is through spiritual knowledge or Jnanam, and that comes through Guru and Shastra. In Viveka Chudamani, we heard that 3 things are extremely difficult to get. All the 3 things we have. Manushutvam, we are born as human beings. Mumukshutvam, those of us here have got that keen desire to know more about ourselves. That moksha ichcha is there. And fortunately, we have a great acharya in the form of Swami Paramarthanandaji. Atma Jnanam requires an extraordinary teacher. It is the extremely subtle of all the teachings. And it is possible only by one who is not other than Atma. This is what is called a Brahmanishta, who's an Ananya Prokta, who tells you not to see Atma as an object. It is not to objectify Atma, to be able to identify that which I'm seeking is myself. We also understand that not only he should be a Brahmanishta, but also a Shrotriya, one who has the ability to communicate, and that comes from the rich parampara, the sampradaya of Sadashiva Samarambha, which we all have our birthright to. Throughout the Upanishad, particularly in the second chapter, we should be clear what is the main question that Nachiketa asked. Anyatra dharma, anyatra adharma. What is that which is beyond dharma, adharma, beyond the three periods of time, beyond cause and effect? I want to know not an ordinary reality, but the absolute reality. And Lord Yama, when he is answering this in the second chapter, repeatedly emphasizes this phrase, yetad vaitad. This is what you asked for. This is the absolute reality, which is none other than that consciousness principle, because of which I'm able to make out the absence of any sensation, as well as the one which can perceive sounds. What is that consciousness? Swami Paramarthanandaji's great teaching is about the hand and the light example. Now, you see my hand. He also says, in addition to seeing my hand, you're able to see my hand because there is light pervading on it. Now, what is the light to do with the hand? It is not part of my hand. It is not a property of my hand. It's not a product of my hand. It is an independent entity which illumines and makes my hand visible. That light principle is not affected by anything that goes wrong with my hand. And if my hand is removed, the light continues to manifest, but it is not seen because there is no reflecting medium. So too, let us understand about this yetad vaitad that he asked for. This consciousness is not a part, product, or a property of this body. It is an independent entity which pervades the body, enlivens the body, but it is not limited to the boundaries of the body. It is all-pervading. It is not affected by anything that happens to the body. And if the body drops, consciousness continues to remain. It is not affected in any way, but its manifestation is not there. That is one important principle. There is another important set of 5 capsules Swamiji always wants us to remember, that this yetad vaitad, which Yamadharmaraja is going to answer in reply to Nachiketa's question, is that I am of the nature of consciousness or Ātma. Now this is a Mahavakya. This consciousness is the only source of permanent peace, security, and happiness. This is something we need to remember all the time. Consciousness enlivens my body, and because of that, I'm able to experience this world. Consciousness, Atma, Brahman, is not affected by anything that happens to the body or to the world around me. An important principle, if I forget this, I land into samsara, life becomes a burden. And if I remember this all the time, my life becomes a blessing. And that is what we talk about moksha. That this question that he asked is none other than my true nature or this conscious nature. Ultimately, we are not going to achieve something new, but we are trying to understand that this conscious nature, we see a new status to myself. Vedanta repeatedly points out that we are not seeking something outside of ourselves. It is not a new substance that we are looking for. We discover a new status, from a status of being a limited person to being limitless, to be that status of Aham Brahmasmi. Just like Karna discovered after meeting Kunti a new status about himself. Now, this consciousness, the next question, where is it located? Because it is infinite, it is everywhere. But where do we discover it? We discover it in my mind. In Vedantic terms, the mind is described as the cave of the heart. What is my relationship to Atma? Instead of claiming the body or the mind as myself, we have to train to say, I am Atma. This is a Mahavakya, I am Atma Brahma. What is so unique about this knowledge or Atma Vidya? For that, we should know about knowledge in general. Now, whenever I get some indirect knowledge about something that I have never seen or heard directly, that knowledge which I get from books or from other sources, that is called Paroksha Jnanam. Supposing I'm able to see something directly with my own sense organs, with my hands, with my ears, if I can see, touch, that immediate experience and knowledge is called Pratyaksha Jnana. Now, this Atma Tattvam, this consciousness principle because of which I'm alive, is it a Paroksha Jnanam or is it a Pratyaksha Jnanam or is it something else? This is what we need to be very clear, and I will try to explain this in the form of a story. This is a Sufi story. The story goes like this. A dead man suddenly came to life and he began to pound on the lid of the coffin. The lid was raised and the man sat up and he looked around and said, "What are you doing?" To the assembled crowd, "I am not dead." His words were met with silent disbelief. One of the mourners finally said, "Friend, all the doctors and all the experienced people have certified you are dead. Do you think you know more than the doctor?" It may look like a very silly story, but the question is to know I am, the fact that I am conscious, I am existent, you will see is a unique type of knowledge. It is not told to you by anybody. It is not experienced by my mind or sense organs. This unique knowledge of I am is called aparokshata. I am. It is a unique knowledge because this knowledge of I am, the direct knowledge of the self, is not a mediate. It is not through the medium. Now, to see if somebody else is there to answer this question, I have to see. I have to use my sense organs and mind to know if I am there. Therefore, this knowledge of I am, I keep repeating, is about 66.6%. 2/3 is enlightenment. I know I am, but I do not know that I am limitless. I think I am a limited being. That is because of my mind, I experience limitations. But then, through Guru and Shastra, I get the great knowledge that I am not just this limited body mind that my experience tells me, but a Guru who has had the direct experience, a Brahmanishta, tells from his experience and also from the authority of the scriptures, not only I, but even you, all of us are Brahman. This knowledge which comes through every experience. That is why in, I think it's Kathopanishad, which says, Pratibodha Viditam Matam. It's not Mundaka, it's a Kathopanishad, that in every experience, let me come in touch with the experiencer. We will have a great verse which comes in this mantra. In fact, from now on, I'm going to change my usual explanation of Pratibodha Viditam to Yena Rupam Rasam Gandham. What is that? Because of which I know that I am Atma. The Mundakopanishad has got a very nice verse which says, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. That the knower of Brahman is Brahman himself. This knowledge is what is called Samanya Jnanam. We have repeated it many times. I will use a new word for Samanya Jnanam. Now, whenever I see any object with my mind and sense organs, it is a specific knowledge that is called a Vishesha Jnanam. But when I am aware of not any object in particular, that is called objectless awareness. So at the end of the first chapter of Kathopanishad, we have to come to this understanding of Samanya Jnanam, Vishesha Jnanam, and a clear idea that what is there all the time is objectless awareness. But when my mind is focusing on something, I come to Vishesha Jnanam. Vishesha Jnanam overwhelms our life, and therefore we are not able to experience. That is why only in moments of meditation, only in silence, we come in touch with our true nature, which is Samanya Jnanam. Supposing we have a bright boy like Nachiketa in your family or somewhere who wants to understand what you are studying, Vedanta, what is this Brahman that you're talking about? How do you explain? Now, we have to have a modality to be able to explain that Brahman can be explained by three ways. One is called Swarupa Lakshanam, the essential nature, Tatastha Lakshanam, indirect definition, and asad vyavritti, that means by a method of negation, to say, oh, Brahman is not this, not this, not this, not this. At least by negation, you will understand what Brahman is not. What do you mean by Swarupa Lakshanam? The essential nature of Brahman is the nature of consciousness. It is limitless consciousness and existence. That is why it is called Sat Chit Ananta. It is nirguna, it is non-dual, it is indivisible, it is akarta, abhokta, asanga, nirvikara. Now, this is for our understanding, but it is useful to understand if you have to explain to somebody what is Swarupa Lakshan. Now, if you want to introduce somebody new, but you know that that person knows Rama through Rama's father. So you introduce somebody as saying, okay, this is Rama's father, because he knows Rama. And by knowing Rama, I introduce you as Rama's father. This is called an indirect or a relationship reference. For example, if you want to describe Brahman as the cause of the world, I see this world, what is the cause? I say it is Brahman. Or the Adhara, the support, or Brahman is the witness or the Sakshi of the world. The other method is called asad vyavritti. What is asad vyavritti? It is also called neti, not this, not this. Mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham. So you keep on negating until you come across the negator. Remember now, how do we define Ātma? In Tattva Bodha, Ātma is described as Stula Sukshma Karana Sharirad Vyatirekta Panchakosha Tita San Avastha Traya Sakshi Satchidananda Rupa San Yat Tishtati Sa Ātma. Now, what is the self? Self is something other than the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body. When you say it is not the three bodies, that is apavada. It is panchakosha atita. It is beyond the five kosha. It is again apavada. When you say it is avastha traya sakshi, the witness of the three state, it is a relationship definition, tatastha. And it is of the nature of Sat Chit Ananda, that is called Swarupa Lakshana. So we know what is Samanya Jnanam, what is called Vishesha Jnanam. Liberation or moksha is abiding in Samanya Jnanam. All the time, if there is something to remember, certain fundamentals of Vedanta, this is a prakriya called Drik Drishya Viveka. I am other than whatever I experience. This is very easy for the object's experience. But then same thing with my body. The first step in Vedanta to say, I am not this body, I am not the mind. Second and big jump is, I have no attributes. My body has attributes. There is height, weight, there is location, there is date of birth, there is date of death. But I have none of these limitations. So remember, I'm not my body, I'm not my mind. I'm the witness of the body and mind. I function through the body and mind. The body is only an instrument, and remember, whatever happens to my body and mind, it will not affect me. So as Ātma, I am nirguna. I have no attributes in time, so I am nitya. I have no attributes in space, I am all-pervading. I have no limitations with this object, I am none other than this body. Now, this much we have to remember. Only then we can clearly understand, because Chapter 2 deals with these two topics. The nature of Ātma, exactly like all I've told you, and that Jivatma, Paramatma, Aikyam. Many times, Yamadharmaraja is going to remind Nachiketa, that is all of us who are like Nachiketa, who will be listening and say, Yetad Vaitad. This is that. Now, how does Adi Shankara begin his Bhashyam? The beauty of Adi Shankara is that he links each mantra to the previous mantra and to the next mantra. And when he's beginning the second chapter, he's linking the previous chapter with the second chapter. And he begins by quoting one of the mantras we studied in the first chapter. It says, Yesha sarveshu bhuteshu gudātma na prakāshate drishyate tva agraya buddhyaya sukshmaya sukshma darshibihi. He says, this mantra says, this Ātma tattvam, this consciousness, this thing that you have asked me for, is there everywhere. It is there in every being, but it is hidden. It is not easily available. But those people who have a very subtle and a sharp mind are able to get it. This favorite Bhagavad Gita verse, Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyanti atmanam avasthitam. That means there are a set of people who are yogis, who are able to see the Atma in themselves and everywhere. But there are yatanto api akritatmana. But those people whose minds are not so refined, nainam pashyanti achetasaha. Even though they strive, they are not able to see. Why is that some people are so easily able to see? That is because the mind has been refined. When you are with the Guru for some period of time, the whole job of the Guru is to help to mind to be so refined. In medicine, we have a phrase which says, what the mind does not know, the eye does not see. That means a good doctor is able to be like a detective, is able to make a diagnosis even on the first glance of a patient. And that is where the mind is so refined and the mind is so trained. And if your mind is so trained, wherever you look, whatever you see, and including yourself, you're able to discover that Ātma Tattva. So the important thing is, consciousness is present in every body and it is everywhere, but it is hidden. So it is as though covered. It is just like the light upon the hand. However, you have to have a special mind. So we begin by manasa antarbukatvam. That means a process of sensitization of the mind. It does not necessarily mean to look inward, because Atma is everywhere. To be able to see Atma Tattva in me and outside me. Adi Shankara points out two A mind that is focused outside is the big obstacle to spiritual progress. That will be coming in the first mantra. And therefore, you remember in the whole spiritual journey of the Ratha Kalpana, right from the beginning of the second valli, there was a choice between prayers or the pleasant path or Shreyas. And the path that is taken by very few people, and that is the path of turning your mind inwards through Viveka Janya Vairagyam. Let us look at this first most wonderful mantra. If there are few mantras which we have to remember, because this will bring a useful sadhana, is the first mantra of the first valli of the second chapter. Paranchikani vyaternat Svayambhū tasmat paran pashyati na antaratman kaschit dhīraḥ pratyak atmanam aikshat avritu chakshuhu amritatvam icchan. Word for word meaning Svayambhū, the creator, the Lord, the Paramatma. Vyaternat, he has destroyed, he has afflicted. Kani, all our sense organs. Paranchi, by making them look outwards. All our sense organs are looking outwards. And that is why we focus on the external world, not inward. Tasmat, therefore, pashyati, everybody sees, paran, outside, na antaratman, not the Atma which can be detected inside within my own mind. Icchan, but there are some successful people desiring amritatvam, those of us who want to go beyond the trap of punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, who want to discover amritatvam, immortality. The Upanishad calls them kaschid dhīraḥ, some rare, courageous, evolved person, avrita chakshuhu, is able to go beyond the distraction of the external world and focus within, aikshat, to be able to see pratyak atma, that Atma which is unique to me. There is no special Atma, but the Atma, whenever you say Atma, we refer to that consciousness in relation to myself, in contrast to Brahman. So the literal translation of this number one mantra, Paranchikani, is the Lord has destroyed the sense organs by making them focus outward. The word usually uses extrovert here. Therefore, everybody perceives outside, not the Atma within. Desiring immortality, a few discriminative persons are able to withdraw their eyes and see the Atma within. So this is a very strong verse where there is a criticism against the creator by none other than the Upanishad itself. The Yamadharmaraja says, the Lord has made our sense organs looking outside. So these defective organs and the mind are always busy pursuing and focusing on the outer world. We have no time to introspect and think about the Atma. But few people are able to do that. They are our acharyas. Such a seeker who seeks mortality is able to discover the Atma within by turning the mind and sense organs away from the world, from the object to the subject. And this is possible through Shastra Vishara and through Guru Shastra Upadesha, from the object to the subject. We go to mantra number 2. Mantra number 2 is a similar mantra, but it is a progressive mantra. Paracha kaman anuyanti balaha te mrutyoyanti vitatasya pasha. Ata dhīraḥ amritatvam viditva dhruvam adhruvam avishvana prarthayanti. Balaha, those people who are not spiritually evolved, anuyanti, they go after parachakaman, external pleasures, te yanti, they enter pasham, the all-pervasive net of death, vitatasya, which is all-pervading. However, viditva, those few people, dhruvam, amritatvam, those who have discovered that absolute immortality, dhīraḥ, those discriminative people, na prarthayante, they do not seek anything adhruveshu, among the impermanent. So the meaning of this mantra will be the indiscriminate ones, or those who are not spiritually evolved, go after external pleasures. They enter the net of death, which is all-pervading. And having discovered the absolute immortality, a few discriminated ones, however, do not seek anything impermanent. Having discovered the permanent, they do not seek anything here amongst the impermanent. So an experience does not teach a person unless we choose to learn from it. Lord Yama asserts that most people never attain to maturity. Experiences remain the same, but some people learn and some people remain spiritually retarded. Such people continue to chase sense objects. So he uses the word kaman, which means sense objects. The indiscriminating ones have an attachment to anatma, not to the Ātma. They function within the time and space. They come under the purview of Yamadharmaraja. However, the discriminative ones who have discovered the Ātma Tattvam will not seek anything in this perishable world. Now, such a person, there is a very beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita, where in the second chapter, verse 46, Yavan arte udapane sarvata samplutodake. Now, when there is a surplus of water, tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanita. Now, when you have discovered the limitlessness, why will you go for all the fleeting pleasures? That is what the second mantra says. Now, these are two very important mantras. We will have a little break in the, we have 4 mantras to study. We will take a break between mantras 2 and 3 to study these. I will request Dr. Anupama to take a quiz on these 2 mantras. Dr. Anupama, please.
Shri Gurubhyo Namah. A recap in the form of a quiz. We just heard from what Dr. Hegde said that we have been taught that Ātma is intimately available in everyone as Sakshi Chaitanyam, the experiencer. In the previous Adhyaya, Valli 3, Mantra 12, Yamadharmaraja had said, Sarveshu Bhuteshu Gudaha Esha Ātma na pashyate. This means, although Ātma is intimately present in us, we remain oblivious of this Ātma. Why is this so?
I'm reminded of the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna gives Arjuna the Divya Chakshu. The Divya Chakshu literally means this is the job of a guru, to train our minds to be so perceptible to detect the Atma Tattva in myself and everywhere. So essentially what we need is a Sukshma Buddhi, or a subtle mind.
That's right. The words used by Yamadharmaraja was drishyate. That means this Atma is perceived by Agreya Buddhyaya, those people who have a sharp intellect, and Sukshmaya, a subtle intellect. And these people he calls Sukshma Buddhi Bihi. By this subtle intellect alone, one can know Atma. Unprepared, unrefined, gross-minded people cannot know Atma, because it's just this immature mind that tends to look outside for Atma. Next one, please. So, what is it that obstructs purification or maturity of the mind? And how do we overcome this obstacle? Clue is in this picture.
The clue is actually the first mantra of the second chapter. Paranchikani Vyatarnat. This is a very strong term used for the creator, that all our sense organs are focused outside but not within. So the extroverted nature is the problem.
That's right. So it is, our extroverted nature is instinctive. And this is a huge obstacle to spiritual progress. We could call it a shodhana. So as a spiritual seeker, I should use my discriminative abilities and manage this extrovertedness. The sadhana prescribed for Atma Jnanam is non-extrovertedness. It's a form of detachment for anatma. Manasaha antarmukhatvam. Turn the mind away from saguna anatma. This is difficult because of the natural extroverted nature of the mind. Next one, please. So can nirguna atma be discovered by indulging in saguna anatma?
Can nirguna atma be I would certainly say yes for a trained person that will come in that yena rupa rasam gandham. Can nirguna atma be discovered by indulging in saguna? Not by an ordinary person, but certainly a person with a refined mind, which comes in that yena rupam rasam gandham. Please explain.
We have used the word indulge. So when you indulge, you're totally in the Priya Marga, no? You can't be in both. One is definitely to the exclusion of the other. So I would think it's not possible, because Atma, we know, has been described as Ashabda, Sparsha, Arupa, Avyayam, Nityam, Agandham, etc. So all those sense organs are instinctively extroverted. Using discrimination, we should manage these instincts, know that the perishable anatma, the perishable prapancha of sparsha, shabda, rupa, rasa, gandha is not what we should indulge in. By pariksha lokan karmachitan, we should shift from the parichinna, saguna, prayas to nirguna, which is a parichinna and shreyas. That's what we should do. Next one, please. So does this antarmukhatvam then mean shutting the world out of our minds and sense organs?
Certainly not, but more than that, sensitizing our mind would be the answer, I would say.
That's right. Discrimination, nitya viveka. Next slide, please. So, although we interact with so many different objects, situations, and people, by paying attention to the isness or the sat, as we have heard in Drik Drishya Viveka, yasmin kasmincha vastuni, in whatever, in whichever situation we may be, if we can see the asti bhati, which is the Brahma Rupam in everything, and not get lost in the Nama Rupa, which is the Jagat Rupa, then we are in the state of antarmukhatvam. This is called vivekajanya vairagya, functioning through the knowledge that this anatma is fraught with the doshas, as you said, bandhanakatvam, atriptikaratvam, and dukkha mishritatvam. Therefore, everything anatma is eventually perishable. Next, please. So, on these bases, we know the story of Valli and Sugriva. The message that we should get from the story is Rishimukh mountain represents?
Rishimukh mountain represents, I mean, where there is no death, that should be Atma.
Absolutely right. And Sugriva would represent?
Sugriva represents that which, the ignorant person, the spiritually unevolved person.
No, I think Sugriva is running towards Atma, no? See, Sugriva is seeking the shelter. He's going for aikyam with Paramatma. So us Jivatmas who are seeking aikyam with Paramatma. And Vali here portrays the other one.
Portrays death and punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam.
Samskara and Maranam. So we should be Sugrivas if we can go towards Atma. All right. Next, please. Okay, in this Paranchikane Vyatrinat Svayambhū, Yamadharma Raja says Ishvara has Vyatrinath, our sense organs. What does he mean by this word, Vyatrinath? Does he mean he has made, Ishvara has made our sense organs very subtle, very sophisticated, afflicted, sentient, or eternal?
It has to do with damaging, the real word means in some way damage. So the word answer should be afflicted.
That's right. Next one, please. So in this same verse, we have seen kaschid dhīraḥ pratyag atmanam aikshat avrita chakshuhu amritatvam ichan. So although all of us human beings have the same set of afflicted sense organs, how is it that some of us consider it worth pursuing Atma Vichara? Is it by sheer intelligence, by accident, by curiosity, by Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka, or by Shraddha and Bhakti?
It should be Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka.
Absolutely. Pratyag Atmanam Aikshat. So, now this word, Pratyag Atmanam Aikshat, means discover Atma as the experiencer, see Atma as distinct from Anatma, know that Atma is inherent or immanent in all of us, know that Atma is present as Sat in the entire world. To understand that Pratyag means that Atma is enveloped by Nama Rupa, is it none of the above or all of the above?
So this is all of the above. So it is an important definition of Pratyag because all these point, except 6, all of the above.
That's right. That's right. So in this part, we have seen kaschid dhīraḥ pratyag atmanam aikshat avrita chakshuhu amritatvam ichan. So how do these vivekis wake up to this reality?
Waking up is uttishtata jagrata. Wake up is through Guru Shastra Upadesha only.
That's right. Absolutely right. Next slide, please. So first, Amritatvam Ichan is the first part where they desire immortality and they start seeking Atma as the only thing without time and space limitations. And Avrita Chakshuhu means they turn their mind sense organs away from the objective world and towards a subject. And how do they do this? By Guru Shastra Upadesha, Uttishta Jagrataha Prapya Varan Nibhodata. Next one, please. So this was the second mantra which you explained. Parachaha kaman anuyanti balaha te mrutyoho yanti vitatasya pasham. Ataha dhīraḥ amritatvam viditva dhruvam adhruveshu iha na prarthayante. They do not seek the perishable. They do not look for the perishable Atma in the imperishable Atma in the perishable universe. Here the word bala refers to which of the above? Does it mean children, mentally challenged, emotional people, or spiritually retarded people?
Those who are not spiritually evolved.
That's right. And kaman means you can have more than one answer here. Does it mean desire?
It could be object, person, or situation.
That's right. It could be any object, any person, or situation. Anuyanti means hope to get, follow, acquire, chase, or instruct others.
Anuyanti, one who runs after, chases.
And Vidatasya Pasha symbolizes, not the literal meaning, symbolizes Narakaloka, Punarjanma, ignorance, a trap, or punishment.
It is Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, trap.
That's right.
Do you want to refer to them again, please?
Do we have time?
Yeah.
So Balaha are the Balaha are the spiritually less evolved people. Kaman refers not to greed here, but it is the inert object, a person or a situation. Anuyanti means to chase. Vitatasya Pasha means Punarjanma. Next, please. So, Paracha Kaman Anuyanti Bala Te Mrutyoho Yanti Vitatasya Pasha. So what is the consequence of chasing these materialistic goals?
You go from death to death to death. That means Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam.
That's right. So He says that these balas, the immature, extrovert, paranchikaman people, chase anuyanti materialistic goals, and this results in them getting ensnared in his vitatasya pasha, the all-pervading trap of punarapi jananam and punarapi maranam. Next one, please. So, this vitatasya pasha literally means the one that spreads everywhere, including all the 14 lokas. Does this pasha entrap everyone?
The only one who will be spared is a jnani, a person who's got jnana nishta, who knows that he is not the body, and such a person is free from this trap.
That's right. Absolutely right. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
So the dhīras, the vivekis, dhruvam amritatvam vidva, knowing that Atma is only source of absolute, that is atyantikam amritatvam, iha adhruveshu no prarthayante. They do not seek anything from this perishable world. By embracing Atma, that means by aikya jnana, we attain kala atitatvam, which is immortality. The example given was in the story of Markandeya, embracing the Shivalingam, which symbolizes Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam, and therefore he becomes Kala Atitam. So what does Yamadharma's pasha have to do with these people? Nothing.
Thank you. We'll continue and we'll have a quiz after the mantra 3 and 4. Now, we have studied two wonderful mantras, Paranchikani Vyatarnat Svayambhū. Tasmat paran pashyati na antaratman. So the problem is portrayed in the first line. Kaschid dhīraḥ pratyagatman avrita chakshu amritatvam icchan. So in each of these two mantras that we have studied, the problem is portrayed and the solution is also given. Now, mantra number 3 is another great mantra, and from here onwards starts this yetad vaitad. O Nachiketa, this is what you asked for. Another mantra to be remembered and to be remembered all our life. In Kathopanishad, there is a favorite mantra of mine. Pratibodha viditam atam. In every experience, come in touch with the experiencer. This is an elaboration of that mantra. Yena rupam rasam gandham sparshancha maitunamcha yete naiva vijanati kimatra parishishyati yetad vaitad. Word meaning. Yena, by what? Here it means through that Atma or Brahman. This is a pronoun referring to that. That means Tat Paramatma. Yena, by what? Vijanati, through knowing what? Through Rupam, Rasam, Gandham, Shabdam. That means through all our sense organs. Sparshan, Maitunan. Maitunan, any form of interaction with some pairs. Now, through these 5, we get to know everything. Kim parishishyati atra, what else is there beyond this? That means there is nothing else. So everything comes within this spectrum of yena rupam rasam gandham shabdam sparshanu through maituna. This does not exclude anything else. That means it is through that conscious principle alone a person is able to see, hear, taste, touch, and have all forms of interactions. O Nachiketa, you are asking for that something anyatra dharma, anyatra adharma. You are conscious, you are able to function. That consciousness in you, which is not limited but limitless, which we have to identify. Yetad vaitad. This is that. This is Atma Swarupam. Atma is that because of which everything is experienced. It is the experiencer, distinct from the object of experience. Anything that you experience has to be treated as an Atma. This includes my body and mind. When it comes to the word Atma, Adi Shankara in his Bhashyam gives 4 definitions based on a certain quotation of a mantra from the Linga Purana. One means Atma comes derived from Ap. Ap means Apnoti, that which pervades everything. The second derivation is from Adha. Adate, that means that everything resolves into the Atma, especially at the time of Pralayam. Then it comes from Ati, that means to eat, to experience, as the experiencer. And finally, from that root word, which comes as existence principle, that which is there all the time, that Sat principle. Yena Rupam Rasam Gandham. What is that? Consciousness. What is that which experiences everything in this world? That is this Atma. And other than that, it excludes nothing. It includes everything else. Oh Nachiketa, this is what you wanted to know. Now, how do we own up that consciousness? Through the method of Drik Drishya Viveka. Whatever I can see and experience is not me. Whatever I can see and experience is Anatma. Then who am I? I am Atma. Kim atra parishishyate? Is there anything else left? Because everything else comes under the purview of consciousness. Consciousness includes everything. It does not exclude anything. So ultimately, what is left is the experiencer. How do we know the experiencer? You don't need a special method to know I am. You don't need the mind or the sense organs. We don't have to make any special effort to know, because every object is revealed by the presence of this Atma, which is I am. We have Tameva Bandham Anubhati Sarvam. Yena etena eva vijanati. Because of that principle itself, everything else is known. And what is that? That is the consciousness principle. This is what we know. So through Drik Drishya Viveka, we studied the mantra 3. Now, mantra 4 is through Avastha Traya. Swapnantam Jagritantam cha ubayo yena anupashyanti Mahantam Vibhum Atmanam Matva Dhiro na śocati. Now, do the same thing through Avastha Traya. Whatever we experience in Swapna or Jagrata, all the objects known by what? Again, through that Atma. And what is its nature? Mahantam. It is huge. It is all-pervading. And knowing which, or aparokshataya, anchoring into that, there is no grief, no sorrow. Yena, by that, anupashyanti, clearly knowing aparokshataya. These two, what are these two? Swapnantam, all the objects of the dream. What is that by which I know all the objects of waking state? Which is Mahantam, great, Vibhum, all-pervading, Atmanam, of the nature of Atma, the spiritually evolved person, the dhīraḥ, which we should claim as ourselves, all of us, na śocati, we do not grieve. So the meaning of this mantra is, by this Atma alone, one perceives both the objects of the dream and the objects of waking, and having known this all-pervading Atma, the discriminating ones do not grieve. So I have to claim I am that. So sometimes you have a feeling that I am limited. Now, when you see yourself as the space within a pot and the total space, Brahman can be considered as the total space, and I am the space within the pot. But the nature of the pot is the same as the total space. And in fact, the upadhi cannot limit space at all, because space is all pervasive. Slowly, we have finished 4 mantras. We come to the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And through this mantra, Yamadharmaraja is going to give us the idea that Atma is everything. It is now, until now, we saw Atma as the experiencer, but Atma is everything that you experience, both in the Vyashti and Samashti. So the next few mantras will talk of Atma as Vishva, Virat, Taijasa, Hiranyagarbha, Prajna and Ishvara. For example, mantras 6, 7 and 9 talk about Taijasa and Hiranyagarbha. Mantra 5 talk that our true nature is that of Ishvara. And in mantra 8, we will see ourselves as that Aham Vaishvanara, that fire principle that is there within the wood and the fire and the Agni Tattva. So through a set of beautiful examples, but extremely difficult mantras, where we need to know our fundamentals of Vedanta, only then the next class becomes meaningful for you. Now, for the last two mantras that we have studied, Yena Rupam Rasam Gandham and Swapnantam and Jagratantam, we will have a quiz. Dr. Anupama, please.
Thank you, sir. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Continuing. Okay, we just heard this mantra. Ena Rupam Rasam Gandham Shabdam Sparsham Cha Maithunam. The prakriya used here is, please use the words on the block if you need.
Drishya Vivek.
Yes. Ātma as dash dash is available all the time and for all of us.
We should remember this as Samanya Jnanam or Samanya Chaitanyam.
That's right. And this Samanya Chaitanyam is responsible for our perception of
Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasagandha.
That's right. And it is this Samanya Chaitanyam that makes our body-mind complex
Sentient or conscious.
Yes. So we now need to shift our identity from
the object to the subject, from the drishyam to the drik.
Yes, from the observed to the observer. Death is just the end of dash of the consciousness.
Death is just the end of the manifestation of consciousness.
That's right. It's not the end of consciousness.
Please go through them once again.
So the prakriya used in this mantra is drishya viveka, and Atma as Samanya Chaitanyam is available for all of us all the time. It is this Samanya Chaitanyam which is responsible for our perception of the universe, called here as Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasagandha. And it makes our body-mind complex sentient. We need to shift our identity from the observed universe to the observer consciousness. Death is just the end of manifestation of this consciousness. It's not the end of Samanya Chaitanyam. Next, please. Continuing the same mantra, consciousness avyakta rupena is?
Avyakta rupena is everywhere, like in, Shayana Sarvataha.
Yeah, Sarvatra. And vyakta rupena? Where is
limited to the body, Sharire.
Sharire. So experience of every object reveals the
observer or the experiencer or drik.
Right. You can also, which is that very famous Kathopanishad that explains
Pratibodha viditam matam.
That pratibodha viditam matam just means experience of every object reveals the experiencer. I, the experiencer, am dash and not the dash.
I am the drik and not the drishyam.
That's right. Although I am different from the world, body, and mind, I am
inherent in all of them.
In this verse, Yena refers to?
It refers to Atman or Brahman or consciousness.
And Maithunam refers to?
Any form of interaction in pairs.
That's right. Absolutely right. Let's proceed.
Please go through.
Okay. So, consciousness as avyakta rupa is sarvatra and as vyakta rupa is sharire, the jivatma. Experience of every object reveals the experiencer, pratibodha viditam matam. I, the experiencer, am drik and never the drishyam. Although I am different from the world, body and mind, I am inherent in them. Yena in this mantra refers to consciousness, and Maithunam could be interaction of any sort between two objects, people, situations. Next, please. Okay, we have just heard this, in this mantra, Yena Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa. We know that consciousness is responsible for our perception of the universe, which has been split into these 5 divisions. Kim atra parishishyate? Is there anything beyond this for consciousness to illumine?
Nothing. Nothing. The answer should be just nothing.
Absolutely right. Next slide, please. Yes. So, in every object that we perceive, if we can see the asti bhati, that is the Brahman, the consciousness in it. So, consciousness does not exist outside the realm of this universe or anything that we perceive. And where do we look for this consciousness? We should not search. It is us, it is me. Etad vaitad, tat tvam asi. Next, please. The next mantra, swapnantam jagratantam ubhau yena anupashyati mahantam vibhum atmanam matva dhīraḥ na śocati. The prakriya used here is
Avastatraya viveka. So swapnantam jagratantam. So avastatraya.
And we could include shushupti. So jagrat swapna, jagrat prapancha is experienced through
the body, mind, sense complex.
That's right. And this objective world is called what vishaya?
Bhautika vishaya.
Right. Swapna prapancha is dashed by the mind.
Swapna prapancha is projected by the mind.
It's not bhautika. And this subjective world is?
This subjective world is vasana maya vritti.
That's right. The variable factors are?
Vishaya, kala and desha.
In both Jagrat and Swapna.
Yeah.
The constant factor is?
Sakshi.
That's right.
Please go through the answer.
Kriya used in this mantra is avastatraya viveka. Jagrat prapancha is experienced through mind and sense organs. This objective world is called bhautika vishaya, and swapna prapancha is projected by the mind. The subjective swapna prapancha is vasanamaya vrittihi. The variable factors in both being desha, kala and vishaya. The constant factor is sakshi. In avastatraya, the constant factor is sakshi. Next, please. Okay. In this same mantra, ubhau ye anupashyanti. What is the significance of the word anupashyanti? Pashyanti means literally to
see clearly. Anupashyanti, to be able to see clearly through Guru and Shastra. Aparokshataya.
That's right. So normally pashyanti means literally to see, but it also means I understand. Like when we understand something, we say I see, like that. You understand and you perceive. But when the prefix anu is added, it means you have perceived through Guru Shastra Upadesha, and Shastra alone, Shabda Pramana, is the only Pramana for this knowledge, and no other proof or validation exists for this knowledge. Shri Gurubhyo Namah.
Our profound thanks to Dr. Hegde sir and Dr. Anupama for an excellent session. Thank you, sir. And Dr. Anupama. Dear seekers of truth, let us gather again in Satsanga on Friday, the 24th of October at 6:45 p.m. for the 12th session of Panchadashi, Tattva Viveka, to continue the inquiry into the self. Up to verse 64, continuing the topic of means of moksha, that is, how to get out of this samsara, in verses 45 to 48, which shall be explained by our Param Vedanta teachers. In these verses, Swami Vidyaranya explains that the 3 states of Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti arise and pass, but the self remains, the ever-present witness Sakshi, untouched by their change. Just as the sun illumines all without being tainted, the self shines through the body, senses, and mind, yet is never limited by them. Bondage and liberation appear only through ignorance in the ignorance for in the truth, the self was never bound and is forever free. Like the moon, serene and unmoved by its reflection, quivers in the disturbed waters, the self abides changeless amidst the agitations of the mind, ever pure, ever free. Do join us for this session. Friends, let us now chant the Shanti Mantra and conclude. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om. Shri Krishna Arpada.